Part 1, The Abduction. Sam Carter was an average man living an ordinary life. He worked as a mechanic in a small town and found solace in his routine. But one night, his life took a turn that no one could have predicted. It was a clear, starry evening when Sam decided to take a walk after a long day at work. The air was crisp, and the moon bathed the earth in its gentle glow. As he strolled down the quiet country road, Sam noticed an unusual light in the sky. At first, he thought it was an airplane, but the light grew brighter and larger, moving with an unnerving speed. It hovered above him, casting an eerie luminescence on the ground. Before Sam could react, a powerful beam of light enveloped him. He felt an intense pull, as if the very fabric of reality was being stretched. Panic surged through him, and he tried to scream, but his voice was swallowed by the beam. The world around him blurred, and he was lifted off the ground, leaving behind the familiar sights of home. In an instant, Sam found himself inside a cold, metallic chamber. The walls were smooth and reflective, and the air was filled with a low, humming sound. He was restrained by an invisible force, his limbs pinned to a flat surface. Fear and confusion gripped him as he struggled against his restraints. Part 2, The Examination. The chamber's door slid open with a hiss, and 3 alien beings entered. They were tall, slender, and had an almost ethereal quality to their appearance. Their skin was a pale, iridescent blue, and their eyes were large, black orbs that seemed to pierce through Sam's very soul. They spoke in a language that was incomprehensible, their voices a series of melodic tones. One of the aliens approached Sam, its hand extending toward his head. A strange device materialized from its palm, glowing with an unsettling light. Sam's heart pounded as the device hovered near his forehead, emitting a low hum. He could feel a tingling sensation, and then a sharp, sudden pain. He gasped, his eyes widening in terror. The aliens seemed to be studying something in their observations. The chamber's walls flickered, revealing strange symbols and data streams. Sam could only catch glimpses of them before his vision was overwhelmed by a haze of disorientation. Just as suddenly as it had begun, the pain ceased. The aliens withdrew, their expressions unreadable. Sam was left alone in the chamber, his mind reeling from the invasion of his thoughts. He was overwhelmed by a mixture of fear, anger, and confusion. Part 3, The Escape Plan. Hours, or perhaps days, passed. Time was difficult to gauge in the sterile, unchanging environment. Sam's mind raced as he tried to make sense of his situation. He knew he had to find a way to escape. He began to study his surroundings closely, noting every detail of the chamber and the behavior of the aliens. One day, the aliens left the chamber, leaving behind a small, metallic device on a nearby table. It looked like a control panel, with a series of buttons and a screen. Sam carefully maneuvered his restrained hands to reach it, using his feet to drag it closer. With a mix of determination and desperation, he began to experiment with the buttons. As he pressed different combinations, the device emitted a series of beeps and flashing lights. Sam's heart raced as he noticed that some of the walls in the chamber started to shift. It seemed he had triggered something, an alarm, perhaps, or a malfunction. The walls began to vibrate, and the chamber's temperature dropped. Sam's restraints loosened, and he seized the opportunity. He wriggled free and cautiously approached the chamber's door, which had begun to emit a faint red glow. He knew he had to act quickly before the aliens returned. Part 4, The Alien Vessel. With a deep breath, Sam pushed open the door and ventured into the corridor beyond. The hallway was dimly lit, with walls lined with strange symbols and alien technology. The air was colder, and the hum of machinery was more pronounced. He moved stealthily, staying close to the walls and listening for any signs of approaching aliens. Sam navigated through a series of interconnected corridors, each one more complex than the last. He felt like he was in a labyrinth, with no clear direction. But his instincts guided him forward, driven by a desperate need to escape. Eventually, Sam stumbled upon a large room filled with advanced machinery and consoles. In the center of the room was a control panel, similar to the one he had used in the chamber. The room seemed to be a command center for the alien vessel. Screens flickered with alien text and images, and a large viewport showed the vast expanse of space outside. Sam's eyes widened as he saw Earth in the distance, a blue and green sphere floating in the void. He was far from home, but the sight gave him a renewed sense of purpose. He had to find a way to get back. He approached the control panel and began to experiment with the buttons and levers. The alien technology was complex, but Sam's mechanical skills and his previous experimentation helped him make progress. He deciphered some of the symbols and managed to initiate a sequence that activated the vessel's systems. The vessel's engines roared to life, and Sam felt a surge of hope. He had no idea how to pilot the craft, but he was determined to give it a try. He manipulated the controls, trying to steer the vessel away from its current trajectory. Part 5, The Alien Pursuit. As the vessel began to move, alarms blared throughout the ship. The aliens had detected the breach, and their pursuit was swift. Sam could hear their voices echoing through the corridors, their melodic tones now tinged with urgency and anger. Desperately, Sam tried to accelerate the vessel, navigating through the corridors and avoiding the aliens who were closing in. The vessel's interior was chaotic, with lights flashing and machinery whirring as it transitioned from one system to another. Sam's heart raced as he maneuvered the vessel, trying to evade capture. The vessel's speed increased, and he felt a jolt as it broke free from its docking clamps. The vast emptiness of space surrounded him, and he had a fleeting moment of exhilaration. But the aliens were relentless. They boarded the vessel, and a fierce battle erupted. Sam fought with whatever tools he could find, using his mechanical skills to his advantage. The aliens were formidable opponents, but Sam's determination fueled his every move. Part 6, The Final Confrontation. The vessel was now engaged in a high-speed chase through space, its engine straining against the forces of acceleration. Sam's hands trembled as he piloted the craft, evading the aliens' attempts to regain control. The vessel weaved through asteroids and debris, the void of space a dangerous but exhilarating backdrop. In a dramatic twist, the vessel approached a massive space station, an enormous structure that seemed to pulse with energy. Sam realized that the station was a potential way back to Earth. He decided to make a daring move, directing the vessel towards the station's docking bay. The aliens, desperate to stop him, launched their own vessel to intercept. A fierce space battle ensued, with laser beams and debris flying in every direction. Sam's vessel was battered, but he managed to maneuver it into the docking bay of the space station. The docking bay was filled with alien technology and unfamiliar systems. Sam quickly assessed the situation and began to interface with the station's controls. He needed to initiate a jump to hyperspace to return to Earth. The aliens were closing in, and Sam could hear their voices growing louder. He frantically worked the controls, trying to initiate the hyperspace jump. The vessel's systems were on the brink of failure, and the pressure was immense. Part 7, The Escape. With a final, desperate push, Sam engaged the hyperspace drive. The vessel shuddered violently, and a blinding light engulfed him. For a moment, everything was chaos and disorientation. Then, just as abruptly as it had begun, the turbulence ceased. Sam found himself back in familiar surroundings, the night sky of Earth. The vessel was tumbling through the atmosphere, its engines overheating. He fought to regain control, guiding it towards a safe landing. The vessel crashed into a remote area, far from civilization. Sam stumbled out, exhausted and battered. The night was quiet, and the stars above seemed to twinkle with a newfound sense of wonder. As he looked up at the sky, Sam felt a profound sense of relief. He had survived the abduction and made it back to Earth. The experience had changed him, leaving him with a newfound appreciation for the ordinary life he had once taken for granted. Sam knew that the encounter with the aliens had been a harrowing and extraordinary ordeal. But for now, he was home. He vowed to cherish every moment and to never take the familiar for granted again. The stars, once a source of fear, now held a sense of wonder and possibility.